Hey guys, it's Casmus Lego, and today I'm going to be showcasing you 3 brand new minifigures based on Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the first showcase video of my new LEGO Harry Potter series, and I'm pretty excited to do this video because in all cases, I am a fresh fan of the series, and when I say that, I mean it. I was quite the muggle for practically all of my life. Growing up, my family was never really fond of the whole wizarding aspect of the movies, and mixed with a lack of friends to get me interested, I never really had access to the series, but even then it wasn't hard to ignore just how iconic the books and films are, so I always knew about them, and I would even hear people saying that the Harry Potter films were part of the big 3 film franchises for people my age, along with Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, but thankfully that all changed last year when my grandmother asked if I would take care of her apartment for a week and feed her cat and basically make sure the place didn't burn down. So I pretty much had the entire place to myself for like a week straight, which that alone was awesome, but my grandmother is a huge movie person, and so she had the entire Harry Potter film collection on Blu-ray, and so for that entire week I just experienced the movies over and over and over again, and it was really awesome being able to watch them as an adult and finally appreciate them. So when I was watching the movies, I thought to myself, you know, I've made Star Wars figures countless times over my customizing career, and I'm just now starting to do Lord of the Rings, so why not pay tribute to another legendary film franchise and do some Harry Potter figures? And well, here we are now a year later with my first 3, and they are of course the Golden Trio: Hermione Granger, Ronald Weasley, and Harry Potter himself. Yes, just these 3 for now. Originally I was going to do like a huge set of 10, and I would have had a Hagrid and a Snape and a Dumbledore in there, but I don't know what I was thinking. There is no time to do a huge showcase right before the 2 towers, and even for these 3 I had to make creative sacrifices, such as not painting the torsos and not sculpting the robes onto the arms, among many other things, and I just barely managed to finish them last weekend, and actually just in time for the 20th anniversary of the original film, which I believe is the best way I can celebrate the film's legacy. But they're finished now and ready to be showcased, so I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get straight into the close-ups of each of these custom LEGO minifigures. This wouldn't be a proper Harry Potter video if I didn't start off with the boy who lived himself, Mr. Harry James Potter, and it is really rewarding to see this custom minifigure come to light, because whenever I was thinking about making Harry Potter figures last November, this was a figure that I was thinking I wasn't really sure how I was going to go about it. I wasn't sure how I was going to do the robes, or if I was going to paint the torso, or even what hair piece I was going to choose, but thankfully this turned out to be really nice, and I'm really proud of the end result. That being said, he is pretty simplistic. In his year 1 attire, he basically just has a Hogwarts torso and a robe piece and then hair, which is pretty obvious for the character. But really, I didn't have a whole lot of time to make these minifigures. As I mentioned in the introduction, I was originally planning to do a whole set of 10 minifigures, and then I realized that there was really no time to do that, and so I had to limit my creativity. And so what I noticed is that their torsos are pretty identical to the way they look in the Philosopher's Stone, and so what I thought was the most appropriate thing to do was just give them fabric waistcoats and then paint their legs, and that was pretty much it for all 3 of them. Hermione's a little bit of a different case, but I'll get to her in a little bit. So yeah, this is a pretty simplistic minifigure. The torso is the exact same official minifigure. I think that it looks fine enough and doesn't really need to be any touch-ups. I probably, even if I would have painted it, it would have been pretty repetitive to paint the tie on both Harry and Ron, so I thought that it was just necessary to carry over the print, and I think it looks pretty nice. It flushes very appropriately with the rest of the minifigure, and that's pretty much just leaves the fabric waistcoat. And I did paint the Gryffindor emblem on both Harry and Ron, and that was a little bit tedious process, but honestly not too difficult. If I get it out of the way here, you can kind of see I'm probably not going to remove the wands since they're not that big of a deal to be even a distraction, but you can see that the painted emblem looks really nice, and I think it came out really well. He also has these little fabric wrinkles that I like to put on all my minifigures, and then there's even some detail onto the back. The legs are also very simplistic. They're just painted in then black paint with a little bit of a pavement sole to it to make it a little bit pop, but that's really it for the leg pieces. The head is pretty great. I love the Daniel Radcliffe print that LEGO came out with 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago at this point, and then the hair piece that accompanies it is really good as well. I had a few other options, but this was the most appropriate, and even people on Instagram made sure that I was going to use this piece, so thank you to that. But yeah, I painted it in brown because I don't know what the LEGO group always does with giving him black hair. I suspect it's to a nod to the illustrations, but Harry has brown hair in the films, so I decided to paint it brown, and I think it came out really nice. It adds so much detail to the character that wasn't there originally when it was just painted black, and I think it just came out to be a really great representation of Harry Potter in his year 1 attire, and I'm really proud of the end result. Next up is Ronald Weasley, and I suspect I'm not going to talk about this figure for too long, since he is very comparable to Harry. In fact, he is basically the exact same minifigure, with a few different sets of lines on the torso and a different hairpiece and head. So I guess I'll start off by saying that the wand is the correct color for Ron. It is the cream, more beige color that he breaks in the Chamber of Secrets, and that's a really nice element. I actually really do like the Harry Potter wands that LEGO came out with a few years ago. They're so much better than the giant rods that they used to give him, and so it's just a really nice inclusion. He does also have the Gryffindor emblem on the fabric trench coat, which is pretty much the same way that Harry's is painted, and it's got identical sets of legs with the pavement sole and the just black color to it. He has the exact same sets of lines on the back with the three-dimensional hood piece, which I forgot to mention on Harry actually. And I mean, it's very simple. It's very comparable to Harry. I mean, they basically wear the exact same clothing, and that's very intentional since they all wear the same school uniform. And I only managed to slightly make it different for Hermione, which I'll explain right now. And last but not least is Hermione Granger, and as I've mentioned throughout this video, she is a little bit different compared to Harry and Ron, and the reason for that being is that the hairpiece would not allow me to give her a fabric trench coat, and so what I basically did was take one of the newer Harry Potter torsos that have the robes already draping over them, and I painted over the black sections with my own black and added some pavement outlines, as well as the Gryffindor emblem on the torso, just like the other two, and then I gave her a fabric waistcoat with a skirt kind of hidden inside of it, which is really nice. I might even try to take that off to show you what it looks like, but it's a little bit different compared to the other two, and I think that this adds a nice level of variety. She even has the little the pieces that connect the trench coat together, which is really nice, and then the back is pretty much the exact same as the other two, but it's painted instead of one large piece, and then the fabric waistcoat also looks really nice. I'll see if I can take that off in a second, but I want to get talking about the legs first. The legs are just like the other two, but I painted on some shoes that were more identical to the girls' uniform of Hogwarts, and then she has these little buckles on the bottoms of the shoes as well, and then the skin tone underneath is exposed, and I think it came out to be an ultimately really good figure. I do love the hairpiece that LEGO introduced, as well as the head. I think it came out really nice, and moving it back the other way around, you can see that I did also paint the rest of the thing there, and removing this torso here, oh, there we go. Okay, it fell down entirely. Removing the torso reveals the legs here, and the legs are, the fabric waistcoat just comes off just like so. As I've mentioned many times before, I love destructibility in minifigures, and making sure that they still become destructible is a very big part of my customizing career, and so this is a really nice fabric waistcoat. I'm getting much better at making these, and it came out to be really nice, and it just drapes over the minifigure like so. And as I stall to put her back together, I will go ahead and finish off this segment. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, that would be great. And there we go. That is Hermione Granger and the rest of my Harry Potter figures to commemorate, I guess, 20 years. I didn't mention that in the introduction, but 20 years of the original film, and kickstarting my new LEGO Harry Potter series. So, yeah, let's end the video. That's going to be it for this video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or have any thoughts or critiques, you can always let me know by dropping a like down below or writing a comment. I accept all forms of criticism, and if you'd like, you can head over to my social media pages where I post updates and announcements about what I'm doing next, as well as high-quality edits of minifigures. I would sincerely appreciate it if you check those out, since I think I have some pretty cool stuff over there that you'll probably enjoy. Links are down below. As always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.